Hi, my name's Andy. I am a civil engineer and I work in water resources right now. And I just bought a house. I have been so excited to share this with you guys. I guess first, I'm Andy. I'm a civil engineer. That means I have a P and an E behind my name. And I bought a house. So the house market in Austin is insane right now. So there's a lot of people moving. A lot of the tech companies are coming. Tesla just opened the Gigafactory. There's expansion of just so many things, and a lot of it just happens to be on the east side, which is where I live and where I want to continue living. So over the past year and a half, I've been putting in offers. I think I've put in like 8 offers. And at first I started putting it in at 30,000 over the asking price, then I went to 50, then I went to 100, then I went to 150 over the asking price. And it just got so crazy that as I've been searching, I've been going further and further and further east, just because those were the properties that I could afford. So I'm super excited that I got one. Actually, my agent had called me and she said, "You got it." And I didn't even hear her correctly. She's like, "Oh, what?" So yeah, I have a house in East Austin now. I've been living in my condo here for 7.5 years, 7 years probably. I've lived in Austin 7.5 years, and it's been great. I currently live on the east side. I love the community. I love my neighbors. My neighbors across from me are super sweet, and they give me some of her extra flowers all the time, and they're always checking in on me. And if I'm sick or they see something on my Instagram, they'll be like, "Hey, do I need to run to the grocery store?" My neighbor over there is awesome as well. We go to the same dog park. There's a bunch of little dog parks, and then we've got a dog backyard. And so it is sad to leave all of the stuff that's really cool. And to be honest, one of my favorite parts about living in a condo is that people get to buzz me when they're downstairs. I can buzz them up, and I love that part of condo living. That's not very common in Texas. Everything's very spread out in one story, but there is a buzzer on my building, and I love that. So besides the buzzer and the neighbors and all of the dog parks, this is where we've got all of the coffee shops. It's actually, when I moved here, there wasn't coffee shops. Maybe there's one a quarter mile down, but now we've got about 3 of them on the block that I can walk to, that I can work at, that I can work from home at. That I did that before the pandemic. I was constantly going to coffee shops, or some of the little breweries are open in the afternoon for people to work from. They do beer and coffee, so you don't have to drink during the middle of the day. Some people do, though. So it's a really fun area. There's tons of breweries. There's those pub crawlers that go by with people singing all through the weekend. And it really just feels like it's the center of a lot. If there's one thing that I really don't like about the east side, is that as it's becoming more gentrified, there's not a whole lot of diversity. This was a cool area where we had lots of diversity, different mixed incomes, nationalities, and it felt like this vibrant center of Austin that just had so much culture to it, murals everywhere. And that is kind of going away as the east side changes and becomes more of, like a tech center. So that is not so great. And that's an equity and infrastructure problem, which is something I talk about a lot on my, Instagram and on my blog, which is how can we design infrastructure so that it is more equitable. Just looking at, power structures and where do we put our investments, and if we're designing a highway, where do we put the highway so that there's mobility for people of different backgrounds. So that's something I'm super passionate about, and I hate to see that on the east side it's kind of going away. It also feels like the east side is very transitory. There's a lot of people that are just coming in from California, Seattle, Washington, Portland, a lot of the West Coast, because it's a tech center here, they're coming here, and they all think that the house prices are so great. And so for us, we're like, this is awful. These house prices are crazy. And for them, it's super cheap, and they've got all of this cash that they can put down onto a house. Or if they weren't able to afford a house on the West Coast, they can now come to Austin and, get that dream of being able to afford a house. So there's a lots good and, some bad with Austin and East Austin. We actually just made a list of most affordable cities, or in this case it was most unaffordable. I think it made number 2, that the median incomes just really don't reflect the housing market. And as we've been watching the housing market over the last year, I've been following it closely because I've been putting on so many offers onto houses. People have been saying, oh, this might be a bubble, interest rates are low now, but at some point the interest rates are going to go up and there's not going to be, this rush for housing. I don't know if we'll see that in Austin. It does still seem like, even with interest rates being raised, and they are raising, that the housing market, we just don't have enough housing demand to meet, or the supply to meet the demand. So it's something that's been on my mind lately, especially as I was locking in my rate on my new house. I locked in at a 4.875, and it's just risen up since then. My condo, I refinanced in 2020, right as everything had gone down and the rates were really low. I heard rates were really low, and I was like, I'm jumping on this. And so I have like a 2 point something. It's probably closer to a 3% on my condo, which over the lifetime of the loan is really good. And for me, what I like about mortgage loans is that my rates are low. So even if I could put more down into my housing, and have my loan be less, I don't want to, because I feel like I can make more interest on that money by having it sit in the stock market than by putting it into my down payment. And so because I've done that, I've had some extra flexibility with money that's been in investments and that's grown in investments, and that's the pot of money that I'm going to use to pay for this house, if it all works out. I'm still under contract, so my contract closes in May. And until then, I am just working on getting my financing all set up, working on getting all the documents and paperwork and everything that the lenders need. And it just takes a lot of time to get them pay stubs, and then you get paid again. You got to get them the next pay stub, and then it goes to underwriting, and you're giving them, all of your assets and things that you're going to put towards the house so they can see that you do have money to pay for it. You're working through getting appraisal, you're working through getting inspections and taking a look at that. So I'm going to bring you on that journey with me. I'm probably mostly going to bring you on the renovation journey, because that's what I'm really passionate about, is fixing houses. Or I guess just doing house projects. I've done so many projects here. This kitchen is actually one project that I've done. I put in new cabinets. My dad helped me put in new cabinets. I got the counters done. The tiling, my dad mostly did, and I helped out a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to be doing tiling myself ever again. That was a rough project. And also, drills that are spinning kind of scare me. Especially if they're exposed like that. Anyway, we need some more safety in tile cutting. But yeah, it's been fun fixing up this place, putting in smart lights and smart fixtures. We rerouted the electrical in my bathroom so that I could put it in a fancy toilet. I've just done so much stuff. I've put up drywall just to make it look not like a studio, even though it is a studio. And it's gotten a little small. I need a little bit more storage, especially now that I'm a bicycler and I have 2 bikes. I've got some decorations, which I do feel like is a 30s thing, that now that I'm in my 30s, I just, I want some pillows that say ha la 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 or whatever on them at Christmas time. Or, it's springtime, so I've got lots of linens that are lighter out right now. I've got some flowers out, and I need storage for all of that stuff. I also have a cat and a dog, and the dog tries to play with the cat all day long and chases her around, and my cat is terrified. So I need to be able to separate them, especially if I'm going out of town, or I guess more often the case if I were like going into the office or going to a meeting and they needed to be at home for a long period of time. I feel bad if my dog is crated for like 12 hours. And I like to crate her when I leave just to give the cat a little bit of break. She's really good. She does it. She knows not to come into the kitchen. She's got a very strict boundary here. She only has one little chair that she can get on, and only if a blanket's down. Everything else she needs an invite for. And she's really good about it unless the cat is sitting there on the couch or the bed, and then it's trying to go and chase the cat, and the cat's screaming and the dog's running, and I'm on a phone call for work or trying to, talk to clients or whatever it is that I'm doing, and I need a little bit more space, especially now that it looks like we're going to be working from home. So I'm super excited to go on this journey with you. The house is going to need maybe foundation work, definitely wall work, kitchen redo, bathroom. It's got this really ugly red tile that I might replace, I might not. And then I would love to expand it out and do, another bathroom. It's a one bathroom, or maybe an ADU in the backyard, which is a whole separate structure, which I would have designed, or I would love to build it with my own hands. I just don't know if in the city of Austin I can get the permit actually licensed to do it, because my license is only for civil engineering, and in particular for water. So I'll definitely talk you through some of the drainage issues that I've got going on in my new house, and some issues with the FEMA maps and what they're doing with the area, especially given that this is a more low income area that is kind of changing over, and to some of the the things that they're experiencing. But I'm super excited. This is going to be fun, and I'm glad that you're here for the journey. So